Welcome to a deep dive into the life and work of Michael Scriven.
A giant in the field of evaluation.
Absolutely.
Known for his intellect.
Sharp as a tack.
And, as one source puts it, his love of a good debate.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't afraid to voice his opinions.
Not at all.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
And what makes this deep dive particularly interesting is we're exploring Scriven's work through his relationship with another big name in evaluation, David Fetterman.
Right.
You see, they disagreed a lot.
They did.
Like, really a lot.
A lot.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
Those clashes actually helped push the field of evaluation forward.
It's true.
So before we get to the fireworks,
Yeah.
let's quickly touch on some of Scriven's major contributions.
Okay, yeah.
Just so we're all on the same page.
Sounds good. Well, Scriven really laid the groundwork for how we think about evaluating programs today.
Okay.
For example, he distinguished between formative and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation is like getting feedback while you're working on something, so you can make adjustments along the way.
I see.
Think of it like a chef tasting the soup as they cook.
Yeah, that makes sense. And summative evaluation would be like that final restaurant review once the dish is complete.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
He also came up with the idea of goal-free evaluation,
Okay.
which argues that evaluators shouldn't be limited by a program's stated goals.
Oh, interesting.
Instead, they should look for all the effects a program is having, even the unintended ones.
Okay.
This really challenged the status quo and broadened the scope of what evaluation could be.
So it's like even if a program to reduce traffic congestion
Yeah.
didn't actually decrease traffic,
Right.
a goal-free evaluation might discover that it led to people exploring alternative modes of transport,
Exactly.
which is a positive outcome, even if it wasn't the intended one.
Precisely.
Okay, I like that.
Now, this is where Fetterman enters the scene.
Oh.
He comes along with this idea called empowerment evaluation,
Yeah.
where the people involved in a program are the ones who evaluate it.
Okay. I can already see where this might get a little tense.
Yeah, you're catching on.
I think so.
Picture this.
Okay.
It's 1996.
Okay.
Fetterman publishes his book on empowerment evaluation, and Scriven is,
Yeah.
well, let's just say he wasn't thrilled.
I bet. But why was he so opposed to the idea?
Well, Scriven was a big proponent of objectivity in evaluation.
Okay.
He believed that evaluators should be detached and impartial to get accurate results.
That makes sense.
To him, letting the people involved in a program evaluate themselves sounded like a recipe for biased findings.
So was it like a fundamental difference in their philosophies of what evaluation should be?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Fetterman, on the other hand, argued that the people closest to a program have the most valuable insights. He believed that their insider perspective was crucial for understanding the true impact of a program.
So one valued detached objectivity while the other emphasized firsthand experience. Sounds like the stage was set for a major clash of ideas.
It definitely was, and clash they did.
Oh, I bet.
Scriven called empowerment evaluation unprofessional, even going so far as to call it a movement.
Oh.
And not in a good way.
Okay.
He felt it was more about rallying people around an ideology than conducting rigorous evaluation.
So he saw it as a fad, not a legitimate approach.
Exactly.
Okay.
Fetterman, however, argued that it was a timely idea,
Okay.
facilitated by the rise of the internet and its ability to quickly spread information.
I see.
He believed that empowering communities to evaluate their own programs would lead to more meaningful and sustainable change.
So it wasn't just about the method of evaluation. It was about the impact and who held the power.
Precisely. And this is where their debates get really interesting.
All right, I'm ready for the details.
All right.
Tell me everything.
Okay.
What were some of the specific arguments they had?
Well, one of the biggest sticking points was the whole question of whether self-evaluation could ever be truly legitimate. Scriven argued that people close to a program were simply too invested to be objective.
Yeah.
He thought they would be tempted to gloss over any shortcomings and focus only on the positive.
That's a valid concern.
Right.
It's like asking a proud parent to give an unbiased assessment of their child's performance.
Right. But Fetterman had a counterargument.
Okay.
He said that people involved in a program actually tend to be more critical because they want to see it succeed.
Okay.
They're not afraid to point out areas for improvement because they have a vested interest in making the program work.
That's an interesting perspective. So rather than trying to be completely neutral,
Right.
it's about acknowledging those inherent biases and using them constructively.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this back and forth played out on a very public stage.
Oh.
Their disagreements weren't confined to academic journals.
Oh, wow.
They actually went head-to-head at the American Evaluation Association's annual conferences.
Ooh, so this was a live showdown that must have been intense.
It was the AEA became their battleground.
Wow.
and attendees would flock to their panels, eager to witness these two intellectual titans duke it out.
I can only imagine the energy in those rooms.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds more like a sporting event than an academic conference.
There were even jokes about them wearing boxing gloves on stage.
I love it.
Oh, it was a spectacle.
I bet.
And there were so many great anecdotes about their clashes.
Oh, really?
One that comes to mind is when Fetterman managed to catch Scriven with his own words.
Wait, what happened? I need to hear this.
All right, so picture this. Fetterman's presenting on the successes of empowerment evaluation.
Okay.
He's sharing stories about how it's helping communities address real-world issues, from bridging the digital divide to improving struggling schools.
Interesting.
As he's wrapping up,
Yeah.
he drops this powerful quote about how any program whose staff aren't doing their own evaluation is incompetently staffed.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
It is. And as the audience is absorbing that,
Yeah.
Fetterman reveals the source of the quote.
Who is it?
Michael Scriven. His own words.
Wow.
Used to champion the very approach he was so critical of.
That's amazing. What was Scriven's reaction?
Apparently, he just put his head down on the table in defeat.
Oh my gosh.
It was a rare moment of victory for Fetterman in their ongoing back and forth.
So these AEA conferences sound like they were something else.
They were.
But beyond the entertainment value, did Scriven ever come around to the idea of empowerment evaluation?
He did, but with a classic Scriven twist.
Oh boy, here we go.
During another AEA panel,
Okay.
someone asked him directly if he considered empowerment evaluation to be a valid form of evaluation.
Okay, so this is the moment of truth.
It is.
What'd he say?
He conceded. He said, yes, it is a valid form of evaluation.
Wow, that must have been a huge moment for Fetterman.
It was. But another evaluator, Michael Patton, warned Fetterman afterwards, don't get too excited.
Oh no.
He didn't say it was good evaluation.
That's hilarious. Even in agreement, Scriven couldn't resist a little dig.
Exactly. But, this whole story really highlights the unique dynamic between these two.
Okay.
Fetterman often describes their relationship using the term critical friend.
Oh, I like that.
He viewed Scriven as someone who challenged his ideas, but ultimately helped him sharpen his thinking.
Yeah, it's a much more nuanced way of looking at disagreement than simply seeing it as a win-lose situation.
Right. It's about recognizing that even people we disagree with can play a valuable role in our intellectual growth.
Which makes me think of that famous Edmund Burke quote, our antagonist is our helper.
Yeah.
It's like iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
In this case, the iron was their sharp intellects and their unwavering commitment to the field of evaluation.
And that constant push and pull between them ultimately strengthened the entire field. Their disagreements forced them to articulate their positions more clearly,
Yeah.
to anticipate counterarguments,
Right.
and to constantly refine their thinking.
It's kind of a beautiful thing when you think about it. They may not have always seen eye to eye, but their intellectual sparring ultimately made both of them
Yeah.
and the field of evaluation stronger.
It really does show the power of constructive disagreement.
Mm.
And it makes you wonder, how often do we shy away from those challenging conversations
Yeah.
when they might actually hold the key to deeper understanding and progress?
It's so easy to surround ourselves with people who agree with us,
It is.
but that can lead to intellectual stagnation.
Absolutely.
Maybe we should all be seeking out those critical friends who push us to think differently.
That's a great point. This deep dive isn't just about evaluation theory.
Right.
It has implications for how we approach learning and growth in all areas of our lives.
So what you're saying is we should all be a little more like Scriven and Fetterman, embracing those intellectual sparring matches as opportunities to learn and evolve.
Exactly, even if it gets a little heated sometimes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah,
what's the one thing you really want our listener to take away from this story?
I think it's this. Don't be afraid of disagreement. Embrace those critical friends in your life. Seek out people who challenge your thinking and help you see the world from different perspectives.
Because those conversations, even the tough ones,
Yeah,
are often the most valuable.
they are. They push us to articulate our ideas more clearly,
Uh-huh.
to examine our assumptions,
Okay.
and ultimately to grow as thinkers.
And who knows, maybe those sparks of disagreement will ignite new ideas that can make a real difference in the world.
Precisely. Now, for those who are intrigued by Scriven and Fetterman's story and want to learn more, there are a couple of resources I highly recommend.
Oh, absolutely. We can't leave our listener hanging without pointing them in the right direction.
Of course, first there's Fetterman's article, The Passing of a Giant and a Critical Friend, Michael Scriven, published in the Journal of Multidisciplinary Evaluation.
Okay.
It offers a really insightful look at their relationship and Scriven's legacy.
Great. And for a deeper dive into the ideas that sparked so many of their debates,
Yeah.
Fetterman and Wandersman's book, Empowerment Evaluation, is a must read.
Definitely, it lays out the principles of empowerment evaluation and provides real-world examples of its application.
So there you have it, a glimpse into the fascinating world of Michael Scriven and David Fetterman.
It's a story about intellectual rivalry,
Right.
about the evolution of ideas,
Uh-huh.
and most importantly, about the power of constructive disagreement to drive progress.
It really makes you think.
It does.
Who are your critical friends, and how can you embrace those relationships to sharpen your own thinking and make a positive impact on the world?
That's a great question to ponder.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this intellectual journey.
Into the world of evaluation.
The impact of strong opinions and the power of productive debate.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds open. As we've been talking about Scriven and Fetterman,
Yeah.
it struck me how much their story resonates with what we're doing here on the deep dive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear how you see that connection.
Well, think about it.
Okay.
We're all about exploring different perspectives, diving deep into complex topics, and hopefully coming away with a more nuanced understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Scriven and Fetterman did throughout their careers, even when they were at odds with each other.
That's a great observation. Their story is a powerful reminder that real learning often happens when ideas collide.
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding disagreement, but about embracing it as a catalyst for growth.
Makes you wonder if we should be looking at conflict differently. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, what if we saw it as an opportunity to sharpen our thinking and refine our understanding?
That's a really powerful reframing. And I think it's especially important in today's world where we're bombarded with information from all sides.
Right.
Learning how to evaluate different perspectives and form our own informed opinions. Those critical thinking skills are more important than ever.
Yeah, it's like we need to build up our intellectual immune systems
I like that.
so we can navigate this complex information landscape without getting overwhelmed or swayed by the loudest voices.
I love that analogy.
And who better to guide us in that process
Yeah.
than those critical friends who
Yes.
challenge us to think more deeply and help us see the world through different lenses?
That's a perfect point to end on.
So, to our listeners, I encourage you to go out and find your critical friends.
Yes.
Embrace those challenging conversations. And remember, even when sparks fly, it's often a sign that real learning is taking place.
And who knows, maybe those sparks will ignite new ideas and solutions that can make a real difference in the world.
That's what the deep dive is all about. Thanks for joining us on this intellectual journey into the world of evaluation, the impact of strong opinions, and the power of productive debate.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds open.